Hello there, sword fans. Today I'm going to tell you about this Tanto project right here. This is part 2 of a sword project that I never made part 1 for, so sorry about that. I think I mentioned this blade in a video that I did called 17 Recent Sword Acquisitions, but I never actually got around to making the first part of the video, which is what I typically do. I talk about the first part that I get and then each subsequent step as it returns from a craftsman, but I didn't do that here. So anyway, this is a Tanto made by Anthony DiCristofano. Tanto is just a Japanese term for knife, basically, and Anthony DiCristofano is an American swordsmith who was prolific for a time but hasn't been making things, at least to the best of my knowledge, for some years. But he's incredibly talented, and if you have the fortune to purchase an item made by him, then it is likely going to zazz and amaze you, because I really think quite highly of his work. The pieces that I've been fortunate enough to see in person have all really had some charm and some unique craftsmanship to him, and all of the good things. I think highly of his work, and so I'm happy that I own this Tanto here. It'll be a great partner to the katana that I own, made by Anthony as well. I did a video on that if you want to search my channel to check it out. Anyway, I think very highly of his work, and this Tanto came to me unfinished. Somebody had bought it from him, perhaps at a show. It's one of his early works, as I understand it, so it doesn't necessarily show the evolution and things he's learned over the years, but it's still quite a remarkable piece in and of itself. It was done with this, well, kind of stubby, imposing looking stature to it. It looks like it would punch right through a car door or something like that if you wanted to, though it's not likely to see that kind of activity in my care. It had a fuller on it, or a bohie, that was cut in. Now, this is, I guess, characteristic of some work that Anthony's done. To my knowledge, I haven't seen classic blades that look like this, but that might be just my lack of knowledge on the subject. Either way, it looks characteristically Anthony, and it's made in Osuraku style, which is this very big tip that starts usually about halfway in the blade and goes towards the end. You see it sometimes in wakizashi or in Tanto, less commonly in katana, but I do have a Taisuki blade made in Thailand that has a katana length blade that's that style, so it can happen. I'm not sure how commonly historically it did. Anyway, it's a cool looking shape and cool looking polish style when it's done correctly, and fortunately I believe that was what Josiah did. Now, I recently got it back from Josiah, who has polished the blade and made a habaki for it. It is now ready to send off to somebody to have mounted, and it's just spectacular looking. So Josiah did a fantastic job on the polish. All the little characteristics, the hamon, little characteristics in the surface of the steel are taken out, and that big imposing kisaki is present and beautiful, and it's just a scary, cool looking piece. It'll be a great accompanying piece to the katana that I have from Anthony. The habaki is also no slouch. Now, Josiah is a man of many talents. He can make swords, he can polish them, he can do habaki, he can make all the fittings if you want, he can finish them as well, and he can, well, he's great at all of them, frankly. So anyway, the polish work he did, no complaints there. I find him to be a very talented and cost-effective person to do that work, and he's very reliable as well. So when I say, hey, I've got this thing, do you have a space for it? When will it be done? There's just a level of trust that I feel in working with Josiah that I've come to really, really appreciate. It's always a stressful thing to send an expensive piece of steel or sword out to somebody, to worry about the post office, to worry about if you're going to get it back. And I've had some experiences that have taken longer than I've been comfortable with, and that don't leave me with the most positive feeling about the sword when it's done. And I just haven't had to deal with any of that with Josiah. What he says and what he does are often the same thing. So, and if they're not, there's usually a good reason. It's not that far off. Though I don't know that I've really had any experiences with him that wouldn't count as say and do being in great alignment. Anyway, I like his work, but I like working with him as well. He is also just no slouch at habaki. That might be what he's best known for, is doing these habaki. Those are the blade collars that go at the base of the blade before the fittings and such, and they are often just things people neglect and don't spend a lot of time with. On mass production swords, which I talk a lot about on my channel, these are kind of overlooked, silly things that people don't invest a lot of time in. They're often just simple brass looking things, or sometimes they have different patterns or something like that on them, but they tend to just be these stamped out parts that get used and reused, and it don't have a lot of character. And Josiah, even the simple stuff, tends to have a lot of character. The habaki on this one in particular has shape and dimension that are easy to pick out as Josiah's work, but also blend right in with traditional habaki. And he has a way of patinating them or releasing some of the character in this simple copper looking habaki that just shows the depth of the material. Copper is usually pretty simple looking stuff, but this, what is it? I can't even remember. Rokusho patina. He does it in a particular way where it's shiny, but just a lot of the crystalline structures and the copper kind of come through. I really find it to be quite the looker. I really enjoy it anyway, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it's done. But now I have a polished blade with a habaki, and I need to have it mounted. And my plans for that are TBD. Frankly, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I'm guessing it's going to be simple, though, and more art looking than functional. Not to say that this isn't a functional blade, but I don't intend on cutting with it. I don't intend on sticking it through a car door. My intentions are to, have it as a daisho piece that matches, or maybe not even matches, but accompanies the DiCristofano katana that I own. And I think something with maybe elaborate but tasteful paintwork would probably be good. But that does mean that the handle is just going to be kind of glued together. And so aggressive, choppy survival motions are not going to be the part. Alternatively, I could have some sort of Samegawa wrapped on it that would make it structurally better, put some sort of simple fittings on it that would structurally make it a more durable thing. I'm not sure that's necessary, though. It's likely just going to be man jewelry more than anything else. And all it would need to stand up for would be one use if I ever needed to use it, and then I could have it remounted if necessary. So something pretty, but on the delicate side would potentially be an option. I'm not sure how durable I'm going to make it, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be on the more simple side, and I think it's going to look awesome. Anyway, in my head, I imagine a simple wooden but kind of elaborately painted thing going on. Maybe some sort of cherry bark looking scabbard. I'm not entirely sure which direction it's going to go, but that's in the back of my mind, some of the stuff I'm noodling on. Anyway, I will make a follow-up video when it is all done and show you this sword or the Tanto in greater detail at that time. For the moment, hopefully that's interesting to see and learn a little bit about the process and all of that kind of stuff. That's all I've got, though. Cheers, and thanks for watching.